Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is Comics Today. This is a live show that we do on Wednesday to celebrate the best day of the week, that being a new comic book day. And this show is also rebroadcast on Monday as part of our podcast. We package it up and we re-release it on the podcast, and that way you can take a little Reggie on the go. And you might wonder, well, what platforms are you on? We are on the vast majority of them out there. So if you have a preferred podcasting platform that you like, if you search for Reggie Collects, you will find me, and you will be able to access a large catalog of back episodes of shows that have been released. And then moving forward, you'll be able to get access to Comics Today. Again, the show that we do live every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. if I am not late, like I was last week. So as a reminder, we're going to be doing the 12 days of Christmas, thanks to my buddy Milt. And as part of that, we are going to be giving away some free stuff, man. I have 3 days worth of Christmas stuff sitting here on my desk. The 4th, 5th, and 6th day of Christmas are all sitting here. We're going to be giving those away. The way that we're going to do it is we're going to do a trivia question, and I'll basically ask the question here in the live chat. I will also type it into the field so that you guys can see it as well. And the first correct response that I see is the one that we will run with. I will tell you, I actually made it to my local comic shop today, which is something that I have not done on a Wednesday in quite some time. I made it there, and then I forgot to bring the books upstairs. So my comics to go storage box, which is full of comics that I picked up today, is not here in the room, so I'm unable to show you what I picked up. But I will be going to the chat here in a hot moment. So if you were able to make it to your LCS and you actually picked up some books today, I want to go to the chat to see what it is that you may have picked up. And if you read something that was awesome that we should put on the top of our stacks, I want to know that as well. I will tell you guys, I've been actually reading some old DC stuff. I went back and started reading the Return of Flash, right? So Kid Flash took over as Flash, and Barry is back, and so I decided to go ahead and read that story arc because it was identified on Newsarama as one of the greatest DC stories of all time. So I'm actually going to read it, and I'll let you guys know what I think about some of that. So what is that? Told Man says, I got Spider-Man 81 and not much else. Slow week for him. I think I picked that book up as well. There was a 81 dot something as well that came out. They went ahead and put that in my stack, so I went ahead and snagged that book as well. So what is that? Future State Gotham is nowhere to be found, says Pretty Fly. For a Filipino guy, Jason has given us a heads up that Hawkeye episode 5 is out. I'm actually looking forward to reading that. Eternal Thunder, I have not seen that name in a month of Sundays. How you doing, brother? He said he skipped the shop today, but he has some CGC goodness in the mail. Shop tomorrow. That's what's up, brother. Fingers crossed that you have some good stuff inbound to you. I will also tell you guys that 24 copies of the first print of the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting have been loaded into the CGC system. The books are currently in grading and encapsulation. Fingers crossed that we get those through the process in a timely manner, and that way we can get those books in hand and then find a way to get those books back out into the community in some way, shape, or form. My man Richard, how you doing, brother? He says no LCS for him today, but he did buy X Factor issue number 19, finishing out his X Factor run aside from issue 6. Pretty happy about that. That is something that you should be not just happy about, you should be proud of, brother. Completing the run or almost completing the run is definitely something worthy of celebration. That is what's up. Good stuff, my friend. Wellbore says, still no new books here this week. That is brutal, brother. Fingers crossed that things turn around for you there. Steve White says only 13 books. First of all, brother, take the only out of that. 13 books is a lot of books. I'm going to just be honest with you. 13 books, no variants. Number Numbering, I don't know. I guess it's and out. Ooh, out is nice. Mark Andrews actually turned me on to out a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, he turned me on to that one, and I've been enjoying that read. Anything with the Nosferatu is something that I enjoy. Joe, my man, Anachronic Comics picked up Batgirls #1, one of the 1 in 25 ratio variants he picked up. I was going to be giving Joe a shout out. Joe released this really awesome video in which he is doing a mystery box fundraiser for St. Jude's, and he put together this wonderful video, super touching video. I was probably a minute into the video, and I was like, "Here, take my money." You know, I ended up buying three. I ended up buying three of his mystery boxes because the money goes to a really good cause. So it was one of those things that was almost a no brainer for me to support. And before the show could even start, he sells out of all the mystery boxes, probably because of the tearjerker nature of the video that he released, which is like, hey, do you love kids? Do you want to eradicate cancer? Like, you can't say no to those things. Like, everybody loves kids, even if you don't have kids. And then sick kids, you got to do something about it. So shout out to my man Joe for thinning out his collection, putting some cool books in our hands, and then also doing the right thing by the childrens. So Tina agrees with me. The OG is like, take the only out of it. Silver Age Saga, slow week. Decided to do some bin diving and picked up Strange Tales 151 and 161. There you go. That's what's up. Steve White, he who fights with monsters is good. He shouts out. Mark Andrews made a deal last night and finished out his Moon Knight volume run. Congrats on that, brother. That is always a good thing when you can finish out a run. Again, whether it's X Factor, Moon Knight, or some other stuff, it is always a good thing. Chris says he is organizing and weeding out his personal collection today. Picked up some long boxes and bags and boards from the LCS. You, sir, are rich. You, sir, are rich. Not in money, but you are rich in supply, because it is not easy, depending upon where you are in the country, to actually get bags and boards. So I salute you, sir, for that. If there is somebody that is local to me here in North Carolina that is interested in getting some short boxes, let me know. I have some free cardboard short boxes up for the taking. My man Lee Atkins drove to GarageCon and we did a deal for some really awesome BCW plastic bins. I bought those from him. And as a result of me switching from cardboard to the plastic bins, I now have a surplus of cardboard that I'd like to get out of the house. So if you are local to me, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. Let's talk a little bit and see what I can do to get some free short boxes into your hands. Is it finally got the golden button? Congrats on that, brother. That is huge. So what is that? Newburn. There you go, brother. Because when it was spelled Newburn, I didn't know what you were talking about. I'm gonna be honest with you, Newburn, I still don't know what you're talking about. But there is somebody in the chat that is probably recognizing what that is all about. So let me scroll. Future State Gotham introduced the future Joker. That's what's up. I was playing a boxing game. I don't play very many games, but I'm playing a boxing game on my cell phone to occasionally pass the time when I need to take my mind off of something. And I was playing this game, and all of a sudden the Joker pops up. There is a video game that's out now for cell phones featuring the Joker. And I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't download it, but I thought it was pretty cool. Steve White's trying to clean it up over here. He says just 13. Yeah, Joe, I did see that. No books, he says, but he did hear that God Country is getting made into a movie. I think it was Donnie Cates actually released a statement that basically said, after many shoots and misses of pitching stories to Hollywood, he has finally landed a deal through which they are going to develop God Country into a Netflix movie, I do believe, and he has been hired to do the screenplay. And I think his comment was a guy from the middle of Texas or something like that. So shout out to Donnie Cates. Shout out to all the folks that are involved with God Country. Definitely a good comic. I enjoyed that comic, no doubt about that one. So scrolling through, scrolling through the comments here. What is that? Comics. Rob says, received a Christmas gift, and it was when the Hulk said Hulk smash for the first time. Can't remember the issue number. There you go. Well, congrats on that, brother. Congrats on that, Ron B. Hopefully the person that gave you that Christmas gift that you cannot remember is not here in the room right now. So what we're going to do in this show is I'm not going to have anybody on to interview, but what I am going to do is do a little bit of rip and response, through the Instagram machine. I put up a Q&A earlier today to basically say, hey, what questions do you have for me that I may be able to answer during the live show? So I'm going to be responding to some of those questions that have been submitted. If you are here in the live chat and you have questions or things that you want me to riff on, throw it up in all caps, put it in the chat. We can talk about it. And what I'll do is I will periodically take a departure from ripping and responding to actually giving away some of the cool stuff that my man Milt has sent over. This is the 4th day of Christmas right here. Here is the 5th day of Christmas, and I don't know what's in that, but that is a big one right there. And then here is the 6th day of Christmas. So again, we're going to do some trivia. We're going to give these things away. You can only win once per show, and you just have to answer the question correctly, and then we will give away some cool stuff. So that's how this thing is going to work. So let me go to my phone real quick to see what comments have been submitted. Well, there's a question here from Mr. Alshi. I think that's how you said it. It's all running together as one thing. Mr. A. Let's just go with Mr. A, and I'm not talking about Harvey Abel. If you did not collect comics, what other things would you collect instead? Nothing. Probably nothing, right? Like at one point I had a massive shoe collection, but I don't consider myself a sneakerhead. I consider myself a person that was bored while working in the fields and went to shoe stores and bought shoes. That's not really a collection, right? I have room card keys from all of my travels, but that's not really a collection. Back when I was really into fitness and did the whole bodybuilding thing, I had a massive array of watches, because I would color coordinate my shoes with my watch, because that's what you do when you go to the gym a lot. You have to have some fun, right? I don't consider any of those things collections. But if I did not collect comics, honestly, I would probably collect nothing, to be honest with you. I've been in this earth 45 years, and essentially the only thing that I've truly collected is comics. I've had other types of things that I have amassed, but none that I consider a collection. It's just stuff, right? So that's kind of how I look at that one. So there was a question here from Terry. He says, now that you've secured Hulk #1, what's the next book that you're after? So I did address this, and in the video where I unveiled the Hulk, the very next video that dropped was the what's next, right? Because I knew that was a natural question that people were going to get, and I'm going to stick with the answer that I actually gave in that video. And the answer was, I'm going to take some time to appreciate the things that I have in my collection. I'm going to take some time to enjoy the holidays. I'm going to take some time to evaluate what comes next, right? And one of the things that I mentioned in that video was maybe I would be getting myself a little better organized here in the comic book room, which is what I'm doing. There's bins all over here where I'm moving from cardboard to plastic. I am continuing to think about what I want my collection to be next. So I'm noodling that. And we are moving forward with our plans to build out our additional garage with an architect. So for the moment, those are my plans. And when those plans change, there will be a video that comes out that provides some additional detail on some of that stuff. So there you go. There you go. No Good Comics is in the house. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the live stream. What's your take on secret variants? Good for collectors, bad for unknowing LCSs. So again, if you guys have questions for me, put it in all caps. You know, what I would say is, your alternative is what? For people to not give away free stuff. That's the alternative, right? Because to some degree or another, I'm in my head, I guess free variants are, whoever is distributing them's ability to give away free stuff and to also have a little fun. And so the alternative is to not have that fun and not give away free stuff. right? So much in life is both positive and negative, right? There's a little bit of good with the bad and a little bit of bad with the good, right? And so I personally don't have a problem with it. I personally see no problem with secret variants and all that kind of stuff. It's another aspect of the hobby that's fun. But you know, you can make a compelling argument as to why people should stop, right? I don't know. I personally have no problem with it, Chris. So hopefully that answers the question right there. So scrolling through the comments here, what's the Reggie, what's the advantage of plastic storage as opposed to cardboard? Is it rigidity? So I think for me there's a couple of things. I like the clean look of the plastic bins because they're all the exact same size, the exact same dimension. Like I just said, there's some good with some bad. The problem is that they're black and they're not necessarily the most attractive thing, right? So there's a little bit of that. The other great thing about them is that I feel like you can actually stack the plastic bins much higher. So if you have less room to store your collection, you can go vertically with your collection versus having to go horizontal, because with certain cardboard, depending upon what you buy, they will actually leave those impressions in the top of the lid for certain boxes. And you see that happen with a lot of the white storage boxes. You get that impression, that box impression in the top from the weight. So I don't dig that, because again, the uniformity is now disrupted as a result of, you know, these impressions left in the top. So I think it's the ability to stack higher, it's the uniform nature of it, it's the clean look and feel, the ability to stick an index card in the front of the plastic bin to tell you exactly what's inside. Those are all the things that I dig. Those are all personal preferences. When you really get down to it, a box is a box. Doesn't matter whether it's a white box, a printed box, or a plastic box. It does not matter. Whatever you can afford, whatever works for your purposes, that is what you should do. I have decided that the plastic bins are the way to go. The challenge, of course, is that they're super expensive, which is why I didn't have a whole lot of them. But Lee Atkins hooked me up as he upgraded to a custom cabinet. He offered me the ability to buy some of his old BCW plastic bins at a little bit of a discount. So I decided to do it, and it made perfect sense for me to do it. So hopefully, Kimball, that answers that question. Again, if you guys have questions for me, throw it up in all caps. It actually helps me. Toadman says the plastic saved my silver age when my daughter spilled milk all over them. There you go, man. Cardboard equals bugs. I'll be honest, I have not experienced that. I have not experienced that. But hey, brother, I appreciate it. I can tell you, my dogs love the taste of cardboard. If you leave some cardboard around my dogs, they will tear that cardboard up. No Good Comics is like, I'm a fan of the plastic short boxes. They're expensive, man. They're expensive. How do you label? There is a slot on the front of the bin, and I literally have them right here. There is a slot right there that is big enough for an index card. And what I actually do, if I'm not being lazy, is I print off a printed index card on my computer and slide it right into that front slot. So that's how you rock it. John, it's good to see you, brother. Welcome. Sticky note says, Todd, I prefer the index cards, but whatever works, man. You can stack the plastic bins high, 6 high. And I believe that that's actually what the BCW website says, is that you can go at least 6 high. And right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 4 high, but that's because my wall is curved or angled. That's the only reason. But yeah, they will probably go a little bit higher than that as I move them out. So scrolling through, tactical cool black for the win, he says. All right, so let's do some trivia real quick. Let's do some trivia. So again, we are doing the 12 days of Christmas, thanks to my buddy Milt for hooking me up with a CGC box full of stuff, including some CGC slabs. So I'm looking to the blue wrenches here to keep me honest with some of this stuff. I'm going to, over the course of this live stream, read off 3 trivia questions. The first person to give me the correct answer that I I see, you may see something different, is going to be the winner. So what is that? Toad Man says, I would never stack 6 high. They get heavy. I've gone 6 high, brother. I actually moved my collection across country 6 high on a moving truck. But I think, as you guys have probably heard me say repeatedly, if you listen to me, you have to do what makes sense for you. If it doesn't make sense, don't do that thing, man. Never substitute my judgment or anyone else's judgment for your own. So, Tom, man, I'm definitely on board with your limitation there, my man. Lewis says he picked up Hulk 2, Thing 2, Wastelanders, Wolverine, Cloaked, and Berserker 6. That's what's up. Good stuff. Here comes my FOMO. All right, so here we go. So let me get the question typed up, because I think that's the right way to do it, because we don't want major issues. You see what I just did there? Major issues. You see what I did? Got that word. I almost said a word out loud. That would have been bad. Okay, I think I spelled that out correctly. All right, so here is the very first trivia question that will result in me opening up the fourth day of Christmas. There is a song out that we have to find a way to release as well. So the question here is bonus with plastic bins, you can build an awesome. Well done. Well done. All right. So here's the very first question. What country was Saint Nicholas born in? What country was Saint Nicholas born in? Both Milt and I forgot a word in that one. So what country was Saint Nicholas born in? The first person that gets the question correct is going to be the winner of some good stuff over here. And I'm looking at some of the questions that are coming in, or the responses that are coming in. A lot of people think Germany. That's for the Christmas tree with the pickle, with the secret pickle. Wall Street is not the answer. Told man X. All right. So the first answer that I see that is correct is this one right here. This is Silver Age Sage. Silver Age Sage guessed Turkey, and that is the correct answer. So Silver Age Sage, make sure you send me an email to Regie at regiecollects.com. That is 1G. Do not send it to my Gmail account or any other account. Regie at regiecollects.com. And if you are a winner, in the email that you send, I need your screen name, your government name, and your full mailing address. That is what I need in order to bundle up your stuff and send it out to you. And I always ask that people do it in a hurry. That way I don't have stuff standing around my desk, because I will forget. I will forget. And then when I realize that I've forgotten, it gives me angst. It gives me angst. All right, so let's see what we picked up here. 2 hardcover books. Ooh, these are nice. These feel good in the hand. Okay, so this is Space Cadet Volume 1. That is a nice hardcover book right there. Space Cadet Volume 1. This is some pre-code horror. I'm sorry, pre-code classics. It says from Dale. Where are my pre-code guys? Here you go. This is Space Cadet right there. My man Chuck, I'm looking for you, brother. This is some Dale stuff. This is right up your alley. These are nice. This is Volume 2 right there. Space Cadet Volume 2. And on the back side of these, you can actually see a bunch of the, I guess, individual issues that are collected into this volume right here. So this is the 4th day of Christmas, and it goes to Silver Age Sage right there. Going to bundle these up, probably send them out in a medium flat rate box, because they're kind of heavy and kind of big. So we're going to bundle those up, send those out. And then I also have, and I didn't show these, there is also some additional bonus Christmas books that I will pair with each of the packages that get sent out. So again, shout out to Milt for hooking it up. Let me get my chat back because it went away. Cool books. There you go. So scrolling through, scrolling. There you go. Joe is on it. Joe is on it. Vox, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. No Good Comic says he's a sucker. Oh no, sorry, a sucker for some hardcovers. All right, Silver Age seems to be happy. There you go. There you. Oh man, that is funny. That is funny. Mark Andrew, there you go. All right. JLS, a name that I have not seen in a month of Sundays. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Oh, we got the long dope. The long dope. There you go. There you go. All right. So, all right, let me roll to another question here that was submitted in. And again, we're doing a little bit of rip and response if you're tuning in a little late. Basically, if you have something you want to talk about, throw it up in all caps when I'm paying attention, and we will riff on it. So scrolling through, Matt Wood sends his apologies. He says he's not going to make it to the live stream, but he wanted me to wish all of the comic book soldiers in the Gibbon gang a good new comic book day. So there you go. There was a comment here. So what's your favorite moment in comics? Mine is the breaking of the bat by the hands of Bane. And that comes from I Got the Comic Runs or Pretty Fly for a Filipino guy. What's my favorite moment in comics? I don't know. What my favorite, I go back to this example a lot, and I think it was ASM 33. So you guys have to forgive me because again, it's one of those things that really stands out in my mind. It is where Peter Parker was trapped underneath a bunch of machinery. I think he was maybe fighting Doc Ock or something like that in the sewers, and he was trapped under a bunch of machinery, and he needed to get some medicine to Aunt May, who was in the hospital, not doing very well. He's trapped under this machinery, and most of the issue, at least from the best stuff of the issue in my mind, was him trapped under this machinery, going through the mental exercise of my family needs me. I need to get up. I need to be strong. I need to endure. I need to do the right thing so as to take care of my family. That to me was honestly just a pivotal moment because of it was him being triumphant in that comic, right? But it was also something that in my mind translates to who I am as a person, right? Somebody that tries to do the right thing by my family, even when when it gets tough or I don't want to, or whatever the case may be. I take a tremendous amount of satisfaction in providing for my family. And so that is to me a really great moment. If there's other moments that pop into my mind, I'll try to rip off of them. So there you go. Just read ASM 33. There you go. How about that? So scrolling through some of the comments here. My favorite is when Ben Reilly sacrificed his life to save Peter Parker and turned into ashes, signaling the end of the Clone Saga. There you go, Toadman. Toadman's on fire tonight. He is on fire. If you guys have some favorite moments, drop those in the comments. If I can, I'll try to flag those. Mark Andrews says, my favorite moment is Conan squeezing the Deadpool through the bars of the cell. I'm pretty sure that if Matt Woods was here, he might also appreciate that moment. I don't know if that'll be his favorite moment, but it could be on the list. It could be on the list. Anything involving Conan, this dude is a good thing. Chris Bigger, nobody puts Batman in a corner, but you can break his back. You can't put him in a corner. Don't put Baby in the corner, but you can snap his back. Vox picked up some Catwoman books. He says he's catching up on Fear State, the new Joker, and Primordial 4. I've been reading that book as well. I am a little behind on that one, I will tell you. So trying to think if there's another like really pivotal moment in comics that really sticks out in my mind, and I'm hard pressed to come up with something at the moment. As soon as the show ends, that'll be where I have the epiphany and was like, "Ooh, I should have said," and then it'll be too late at that point. So again, if we're doing a little bit of rip and response, if you guys have questions, throw it up in all caps. It'll actually help me to be able to see it. There was a question here from Jay. And the question is, at what point do you stop collecting? And I don't know if he's talking about me or people in general, right? So personally, The thing that I would immediately ask myself is, if I stop collecting, what would I then do with my free time? Right, that is essentially the question that I would have to ask myself, is, if I'm not collecting comics, what would I do with my free time? And I say that because, as I mentioned, I don't collect anything else, right? So what would I do with my free time? I don't know. I don't know that I need to spend more time sitting on the sofa watching TV. I spend a fair amount of time outdoors as it is. I still get some exercise in, definitely not what I used to do, but I still get some exercise in, which is good. Spend time with my family, right? I don't know what I would do with the extra time. So I'm not sure what stopping comics would actually look like for me. Plus, so much of what I do is so intertwined, right? The YouTube channel is intertwined with collecting. Some of the things that I do to offer up, like writing the guy with Doug and some of the other things that we have planned. There, it's all intertwined. So I don't know how you stop one aspect of it without it unraveling the other aspects of what you do as well. So it's kind of all interconnected for me. But I could definitely see. Ooh, that was a dope one. That was a dope moment. That was a dope moment. No doubt. No doubt. That was a dope moment too. Yeah. Yeah. I can get on board with those. I can get on board with those. So again, it's like, what would I do with all that free time? I honestly don't know. And I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the things that I do in this community, in the hobby. And so I don't see it stopping for me anytime soon. Maybe I'll reach a point where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm certain that I'll find something to do with my free time. But at the moment, I don't know what that looks like. I do know that there are a lot of collectors out there that are winding down their collections for one reason or another. They are paring down their collection. They're selling off books. They're giving books away just because they want to have less stuff as they get older, and they don't feel the need to have everything. Like collectors, we like stuff, right? We like to amass stuff, right? That's part of what we do. So I definitely get people trying to wind things down and pare it down to those books that are really meaningful to them. And maybe for me, that's what it'll be. Maybe, what I won't do is, fingers crossed, leave this earth with all of those comics in my garage, right? The goal would be to move that stuff on to somebody else, so as to not leave my wife with a burden. She is younger than me, and women outlive men, so she'll probably not be very pleased with me if I were to leave all that stuff for her. So Jared is asking the question, why are comics getting expensive? It's getting to the point where I can't afford them. So what would you recommend? I would say make sure you watch the videos that I release on the channel, because I actually spend a great deal of time kind of talking about this. So the thing that I would say to you is that there are very few things in this world that are not getting more expensive, right? Like hard stop. Hard stop. There are very few things that are not getting more expensive. A cup of coffee is not 25 cents or a nickel anymore. It is much more than that. It is $3 and up for a cup of coffee, right? Cars are more expensive. Gas is more expensive. We looked at a school recently, and my wife told me how much it costs to send my kids to my dad's school, and that just is not going to happen. It's more than my college degree. Everything is getting more expensive. And so, a lot of people complain, and I'm not saying you are, I'm simply reflecting what I hear, right? I'm trying to answer the question fully. A lot of people say, even new comics are expensive. That is true, but comics have, by and large, the national average is what, $4 according to Comicron. Last time I looked, it was about $4 or something like that, which is not terrible. Again, compared to like a cup of coffee, so, I think that comics are getting more expensive is a complicated question that requires a lot of complex responses, right? I think that the comics are being looked at as alternative forms of investment. There are corporations that are taking a look at collectibles and this hobby as a way to make money. You have the MCU effect and the movies and the TV shows that are fueling it. You have people that are sitting at home in parts of the country, parts of the world, with nothing else to do other than to look at their comics and to wonder if those comics are worth something. You have YouTubers that are creating videos about different things. You have CGC being sold for whatever crazy amount of money that they sold for. That attracts lots of attention. Is that good? Is that bad? Is that right? Is that wrong? Yes, it is all of those things, right? What I would say to you is a lot of people think that there's a comic book bubble. I don't know if there is a comic book bubble, right? It is impossible to predict a bubble. It is impossible to predict the bubble. You can only see a bubble in hindsight, right? That is like some basic economic stuff, right? So, is there a bubble? I don't know. Will prices flatten? I don't know. Will prices drop? I don't know. There are some people out there that say that prices are already starting to flatten, which is not necessarily a bad thing. That is also not to say that the market is crashing and that comics are going to go to zero, because I do not think that that's going to happen. But all of these things are converging, driving prices up. And again, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. It is yes. um, are there ways to be able to afford comics that you really want for your collection? I think that there are ways to be able to afford it. It requires you to do a little bit of work. It requires you to maybe sell some books in your collection that you don't necessarily want. It may require, depending upon who you are, to work an extra job. It may require you to have a little bit of a side hustle in order to be able to afford these things, especially if you have a family. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. Maybe somewhere in the middle. I don't know. I really don't know. But Jared, as you know, I released that video talking about why comic collecting sucks. And in many ways, that video reflects the sentiment that you are expressing in your comment now. It is hard. It is a hard hobby to be in right now. But name for me a collectible hobby that isn't hard right now. Name a collectible hobby that is thriving, that is also not experienced some of what we are experiencing in comics. So we have our narrow focus on comics, but the reality is that when you look at other collectibles, they are also experiencing some similar things. So hopefully that helps. I have been selling books that don't fit my collection to fund more books. There you go. And people will say, people will call you a speculator, Steve, and people will look down upon you because of what you're doing. But what you're doing is a byproduct of what Jared just expressed. And either this notion of, I wish there was no money in comics, right? I wish that comics were cheap. The reality is that that ship has sailed. The reality is that that ship has sailed. And in order for us to continue, finding a way to be part of this hobby and to enjoy the hobby, it sometimes requires us to do some of the things that I just mentioned and some of the things that Steve is mentioning, which is to sell off books that don't necessarily fit in your collection, finding a way to move those books to another person that will appreciate them in exchange for some cash that allows you to invest in the hobby even more. To me, this notion of there's readers and there's collectors and then there's speculators and investors, like they're all these separate things. That is a misnomer. In many cases, we are multiple things all at the same time, sometimes based upon the circumstances that we find ourselves in. I sell books to invest in my channel. I sell books to buy books for my collection to show on my channel, right? It is super simple. It is super simple. It doesn't make me wrong. It doesn't make it bad. Same thing. There you go. Chad's like, sell the fluff to fund the grails. If comics still cost $100 for a major key, we probably would not be selling our comics right now, right? But that's not the case. It's not the case of it $100. You're talking $1,000, $10,000, $20,000, right? Yeah. So some of the comments here. Scrolling. Oh, Chris Bigger says, when Craven buried Spider-Man, he said, is that one of your pivotal moments, brother? Is that what you're saying there? I didn't know that you read Marvel comics. I thought you were only DC. Comics are not cheap. There you go. Comics are not cheap. The 13 books were $70 today. That is no joke. Doug, how you doing, brother? Picked up a few series you love and don't chase variant covers. There you go. That is well said. That is well said. I will tell you, there was a Golden Age book that I saw that popped up today on Instagram. And I looked at that book and I said, ooh, that is a nice book. I'd like to have that book, right? So I went to the website of the dealer that offered it. That book was so expensive. I was like sweet Christmas. I had to put my phone down. I had to put my phone down because that was more money than I was expecting to see. You know what I'm saying? Variants are a curse. I don't know. I don't know. I blame the pandemic. The pandemic has definitely had an impact, right? And again, it's the convergence of multiple factors all at once are the reason why we're seeing some of what we're seeing, right? So the pandemic, the MCU, the I don't know what they call those things, the money that the government was handing out to people, right? It is people sitting at home going through their collections. It's CGC selling. It is record breaking prices for ASM and Action Comics. All of these things, which are by and large good things, when they all happen at once, it has, some detrimental effects. And the reality is that it makes it difficult for people to be able to buy some of the books that they really want. It makes it difficult, right? But I will tell you, I will be completely honest. you know, when I bought comics back in the day, I always treated my comics as if they were going to be worth money. That was always my mindset. I'm going to put them in bags and boards. I'm going to put them in a bin. I'm going to put them in the dark in my closet. I always treated them because I was spending my hard-earned money on these things, hoping that maybe they would be worth money later on. And to this day, that's still my mindset. I still take care of my stuff because I spent my hard-earned money on it. And the numbers look a little bit different now, but it's still the exact same principle for me. I still try to take care of my stuff. So scrolling through, wow, I was way behind. I was way behind on comments. I missed a whole lot of stuff. You have my apologies for that because I missed a lot. And again, if there were questions in there, throw it up in all caps because that'll actually help me to see it. Someone asked about my favorite Marvel movie. I'll be honest with you. I don't lock movies into my mind the same way that a lot of other people do. I don't work that way. I will tell you that I saw Black Panther a couple of times. I thought Black Panther was cool. Is that my favorite Marvel movie? I don't know. I've seen the Guardians of the Galaxy several times. I love Guardians of the Galaxy, but I couldn't tell you that one movie was any better than the other. I thought they were all funny, so I don't know that I have a favorite Marvel movie versus I personally enjoy the MCU. I enjoy the movies. I enjoy the TV shows. I enjoy all of that stuff. And my apologies if that was super loud. It was loud in my ear. So here we go. Is that a Milt package? That is DB. Milt has some of that Gibbon Gang tape, the red tape. So let's go ahead and do our second trivia question. We're going to do our second trivia question here, and then I will get back to the questions that are in my phone and also the ones that you guys post up here. As a reminder, this show will be rebroadcast as part of our podcast, which gets released on a Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so let me get this question typed in. Iron Man 2 is not the Iron Man 2 is not the answer, says Toadman X. That was to the question of what's my favorite Marvel movie. Well done. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was better, says Chris Bicker. There you go. All right. Robust is always the answer. All right. So let me type this question in before you guys get me off track. Oh, shout out to Milt, man. He hooked this up. He sent me the questions, sent me the books. I mean, he hooked it up, made it super simple for me. Very thankful for that. He even paid for the shipping. Love that guy. All right, so here we go. So for the fifth day of Christmas, the question is, what year was Action Comics printed? What year was Action Comics printed? I need the year. If you get the month in there, I'll take that as well. But we're focused on the year, and then we will unbox the the fifth day of Christmas. I was out of order. I almost messed up. Milt would have had my head for that one. And again, shout out to Milt. My thoughts are definitely with you, brother. keep me posted on how things are going. I know you'll be watching this back on replay, so keep me posted. So, let me go to the chat. Let me go to the chat. See what year you guys think this is. I see 1937 in there. Let me scroll up to the top. All right. So let me see. Milt rocks indeed. Let me see. I'm torn. Blue wrenches. I need you guys to give me an answer on this. Does it have to be the full year, or can it be the ending year? Is it the full year or the ending year? I'm looking for the blue wrenches to give me a ruling, and then I will select the person based upon that. Brandon Keefe, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Blue wrenches, full year or just the last 2 digits? What is the answer? What is acceptable? Oh man, this is cool right here. I said blue wrenches, Jason. I'm looking for the blue wrench. What are my blue wrenches? Are you guys? Where you guys? Come on now. Hold on. I'm still looking for a comment from one of them. I need a ruling. That way I can blame you guys. Tina says, ending is okay. All right. Tina said it. So it is so. All right. So let me scroll back up. So the winner. Oh, thank you, Jason. I'm glad you know that I was just joking, because I am. Scrolling up. Let me see. Because there was somebody that just dropped the last 2 digits in. And the first one that I see is this guy right here, Matt. Matt got it correct. So Matt, I need you to send me an email to Regie at regiecollects.com. REGIE at regiecollects.com. Oh my gosh, I just got to look at the 6th day of Christmas. Sweet Christmas. I just got to look at the 6th day. Ooh, it is nice. All right, so let me show you what it is that, let me write that down. Matt has won. So again, if you win tonight, Silver Age Sage and my man Matt, send me a message to Regie at regiecollects.com. I need your screen name, your government name, your mailing address, and if you remember the question that you answered, that just helps me. So I don't need it, but if you feel frisky and put that in there. All right. Man, FOMO is real, says Chris Bigger. Brandon P, how you doing? It is good to see you. All right, so here we go. This is what was sent over. I'm gonna try to get it right here. So this is an exact reprint of Action Comics 1. This is famous first editions limited collector golden mint series, and this is an exact reprint of Action Comics #1. That is pretty cool. I don't know how I'm going to send this to you because this thing is massive. It is bigger, I think, than a medium flat rate box. So that is what you got right there. Reggie, Matt says he's in Canada and to pass it on. Thank you, Tina. Thank you for putting in all caps. So let me go back up. Let me see who the second person was. Scrolling up, second person that got it correct was Shadow. So Shadow, let me know if you are interested in this. And if so, if not Shadow, then Kimball is up next. So Shadow and then Kimball is up next. Kimball already won, so Shadow take it because Kimball doesn't need to. So the first book is this one, an exact reprint of Action Comics issue #1. The second one here is a exact reprint of Detective Comics issue #27. So 2 really cool and massive reprints in Mylar. So there you go. That is what will be sent out as part of the 5th day of Christmas. Who do I say? I said Shadow, right? So let me go to see if Shadow is indeed interested in this one. There you go. Says it would be amazing. So Shadow, go ahead and send me that email to Regie at regiecollects.com. ADOY. So we got Shadow in there. One serious question, 1 win per 12 days. No, we're basically doing 1 win per show. 1 win per show. The reality is, I don't know if someone's actually going to win more than once. I don't know if someone's luck is that good. So it's one win per show. It's one win per show is the way that we're going to do it and try to spread a little bit of the love out. Yeah, Milt hooked it up, man. Milt hooked it up. So, all right. And again, lag is a real thing. So what you see on your screen is probably different from what I see on my screen. Let me see if there's other questions here. So there was a question here from Comic Gains. Comic Gains actually sent multiple questions in. The question the question is, at a deeper level, why do you collect comics and how has it changed your life? So I think I've told this story a lot, right? So when I stopped competing as a bodybuilder, right? When we had our second kid, my wife was basically like, I think you're done with this whole competing thing. Competing never put food on the table, but it was something that I enjoyed doing. It was a fun hobby, but it was a consuming hobby, if you will, right? And what I mean by that is it was about my cardio, my workouts, my food, my sleep, my water, right? It was about me. It was always about me. I can't go there because I need to take my food. I can't warm my food up there, right? I would go to restaurants and be like, hey, can you cook this sweet potato in the back for me and bring it out to me? It was a tough lifestyle. It was a lifestyle that I absolutely enjoyed. But when you have, other things that are more important in your life, then you sometimes will take a step back and evaluate what's really important. You know what I'm saying? And when your wife looks at you and says, hey, I think you're done with this. You can't say, well, no, I don't think so. I think I'm going to be selfish and continue making it about me. Right. So I walked away from the hobby because there were more important things in my life that I needed to focus on. And, I got back into comics because I still needed something I still needed something for myself, right? I still needed something for myself. I still needed something that gave me some escapism. Because one of the great things about going to the gym, part of the reason why I started going to the gym was because I had a very stressful job and I needed to release the stress. Then I was going through a divorce and I started to compete and I started to work out a lot and ultimately started to compete because I became good at it, but because I needed to go and relieve all of that stress from that divorce that stretched out over a couple of years. And so, I still have a stressful job, right? We all have stressful lives. And so to me, comics still provide me with that escapism that I need. There is something satisfying with reading a comic. There is something satisfying with bagging and boarding. There's something satisfying about sorting a collection where you can escape whatever it is that has you frustrated. And it allows me to think a little more clearly when I go back to whatever I need to focus on, just like working out. You have a problem, go work out. Because when you come out of the gym, you think a whole lot more clear. To me, comics still do that. But the benefit is that I'm here at the house. I'm here at the house. I can leave this room and go spend time with my family if I need to. If my wife is like, hey, can you come and help? I can put the book down and go help her, right? I can be in the same room reading on an iPad. You can't necessarily do that if you're spending a couple of hours at the gym, in the morning or at night, right? It's a little tougher. So have comics changed my life? I don't know. I would say that comics have enriched my life. Through comics, I created this YouTube channel, and through this YouTube channel, I've created a community of people that many of which I consider my friends. And so I don't know that. I think that comics and what comes along with it has enriched my life in so many ways already, and I think in a lot of ways to come in the future. So hopefully that answers the question. Matt says, I am smoking a cigar right now. My wife would love if I worked out, would spend less time with There you go, man. My wife grew up in a household where, her mother did certain stuff and her father did his stuff by himself. They each had their own worlds and then they had their world together. And I think my wife is still, of that frame of mind that People need time for themselves to do something that is important for them, because it's what we need as people. But then you also need that together time, right? I think that's also a really important thing that, when you have kids, that is impacted, but you still have to work at it. And my mother constantly reminds me of that fact. So, um, what is that? Comics are therapy. I just found a new budget category. Buy comics and say you went to therapy. There you go. I'm gonna tell you, you learn something new every day. Every day. Many, brother, they don't even know. They don't even know. The comic family is the family you choose. Well said, man. Well said. I'm gonna tell you, I am the type of person that can go to a con and I will slide in and out. I will slide in and out of that con. Went to the con this weekend and I spent way more time there as a result of people actually recognizing me and me stopping to talk to those people. And as a result of me stopping and talking to those people, my overall con experience was enriched as a result of that. So to that point of the family you choose, yes, I don't know that I would disagree with a single word of that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you can use your health spending account, brother. That's between you and the job, brother. As I always say, never start a sentence with Reggie said. So when HR jams you up, don't say Reggie said. Don't say Reggie said. Comics are therapy. Comics have been therapy for me since my first deployment in Iraq. There you go. I think I have a video coming out, and I've done videos in the past about the power of comics. I think comics are incredibly powerful, and a lot of people that don't give comics the credit that they deserve are probably people that never read comics, or have found other ways to have that escapism. And in many cases, as you guys know, forms of escapism are not always positive. I always told people I go to the gym and I work out. There are more destructive things that I could be doing with my time other than breaking down some muscle in the gym. You know what I'm saying? So let me scroll down. Okay, I'm all caught up again. If there's things you guys want to talk about, throw it up in all chat caps because it actually helps me. There was a comment here or a question. If you had the power to make changes to the comic industry, what would you change and why? Maybe I don't know. I did not think about these questions in advance, to be completely honest. I did not think about them in advance. But one of the things that I've spoken about previously in a few different ways it has been the lack of transparency that exists in the industry. And I think that lack of transparency plays itself out in a lot of different ways. The relationships that exist between people and companies, the relationships or the print run size, how comics are distributed, sales data. Ratio variance, all of that stuff. There is a lack of transparency in so many different aspects of this hobby that if I could change one thing, it would be increasing the amount of transparency that is in the hobby across a lot of different places, right? There isn't just one place, a lot of different places I would choose to add that transparency. So hopefully that answers the question. Joe, good to see you, brother. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. All right, so let's get to this last trivia question. Let's do this last trivia question here. Let me get this one all set up. Okay, so this one again, Chris Bicker's got his toes crossed. All right, so with this one right here. Wait a minute. Turbo Man, I'm back into comics after a 40-year absence. Man, have things changed? I feel lost in the woods. Brother, here's the thing. Don't feel lost in the woods. I want you to look right at me, Turbo Man. All you have to do is to head over to regiecollects.com. On the top navigation, there is something called the Smart Guide to Comic Collecting. I want you to go ahead and click that link. Go ahead and click that link. Go ahead and place your pre-book for our roughly 90-page guide that should be coming out here around the end of the year. Because in that guide, it's 90 pages of practical tips and advice and pointers where we actually talk about the ins and outs of comics, right? We do this as a way to get folks back up to speed that have been out of the hobby for long periods of time. We do it for those that are new to the hobby. We even have some wonderful stuff in there for those that are experienced collectors that have never gotten out of hobby. But this right here is the variants cover that we are going to be doing for the guide to smart comic collecting, available on regiecollects.com. Thank you, brother, for that segue. Definitely appreciate that. There you go. All right. So here's the go. Here we go. The question. There we go. So he already bought it. Never mind. Never mind. Skip the commercial. All good. All right. So here's the question. What nationality was Dracula? So I don't know if you guys saw this. I put up my stats the other day for my YouTube channel, right? We've had 6.1 million minutes watched on YouTube. And I was feeling good, man. I was feeling so good about myself. And then a guest that comes on this show, has been on the show a couple of times. I've always enjoyed my conversations with this guest. He then put up his statistics. And his number was bigger than my number. Didn't make me feel good. Kind of hurt my feelings, to be honest with you. This guy right here, Neo. This guy right here. He's like excited to get my copy. Ordered a few extras to give away on the channel. You hurt my feelings, brother. You hurt my feelings with that big number that you put out there for the minutes watched on your channel. It's just, I don't know what to do about that, Neo. I don't know what to do. Let me scroll down. All right, so let me see whether we have an answer to this question. And again, I'm looking for the correct answer to this question. I am scrolling through and I do see it. I need to make sure that is the first one, and it is. So Crazy 8 Comics, Romanian, Vlad the Impaler was Romanian. So Crazy 8 Comics, I need you to send me an email to Regie at regiecollects.com so that I can package up your gift from Milt. It's nice. I'm gonna be honest with you, Crazy 8. It's nice, brother. Let me go ahead. And you better not say you don't want it. You better not say Oompa Loompa. Oompa Loompa land is what Jason said. Well done. All right, this is the origin and first appearance of Lilith, the daughter of Dracula. The only issue, because the title becomes Giant Size Dracula after that. This is Giant Size Chillers issue number 1. That is cool. It is a 2.0 with white pages. Giant Size Chillers issue number 1, the origin and first appearance of Dracula's daughter. There you go. That is what is coming to you. Here's the back side of it. Nice slab. Congrats, Crazy 8, for guessing that Vlad the Impaler was Romanian. That is definitely a dope gift, man. That is all right. Again, you know, Milt sends this stuff over for me to give away, but it's like a tease. It's like a tease to me because I don't get to keep it. I just gotta hold it for a few minutes and then pass it on to somebody else. You know, it's like he's killing it. He is killing it. We gave away a 9.6 of Spectacular Spider-Man the other day, right? And I'm moving my boxes, right? And I found my copy of Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man issue number 1. It's not close to being a 9.6, not even close. Right? It's like the most faded cover ever, you know? So Crazy 8, congrats, brother. Giant Size Chiller right there for you. Coming your way again. Congrats to all the winners. And shout out to Milt for hooking things up. There was one more. What is that? Hashtag FOMO. So there was one other question that had been sent in that I want to look at real quick. And this person says, I cannot fit my question into the Insta story, but I wanted to send this over. It says, comics are loved by many and have been life-changing for some, providing escapism, morals, art, storytelling. What are your thoughts on those who only collect them for profit and only see them as money makers? So I don't know. I don't know how people are going to feel about this one. I don't know how people are going to feel about my answer to this one. But what I will tell you is I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if there are people that collect comics for profit and only see them as money makers. And here's why. Um, so you have to remember that not every comic shop owner is a lover of comics. They in some respects they are a business person. They don't necessarily love comics the way that we do. And I know some shop owners that won't even truly collect because they maybe in the past have struggled with that collecting versus selling aspect of things, right? So they look at it as a business. We should not think that every publisher publishes comics simply because they love comics. They publish comics because they get to feed their children and buy nice stuff and do rewarding, fulfilling work, right? They may enjoy comics, right? But this idea of it being this pure this or pure that versus maybe an overlap of things, again, we talked about that before with speculators, investors, readers, collectors. So every artist that works in comics doesn't necessarily love comics. They do it because they are talented. And if you think about some of the early artists and creators, they did it because they needed a job, not necessarily because they were like, I love comics, right? They actually did not enjoy comics. They actually did not tell people they actually worked in comics because they were embarrassed. So this idea that you can only do it if you truly love it, I don't know if I agree with that in a lot of aspects, right? I would also add that I believe that any thriving hobby industry market needs lots of people that are interested in that thing. You need readers, you need collectors, you need investors, you need speculators, you need people that do it for the money, you need people that do it for the art, you need people that do it because they want to create YouTube content or blog posts or whatever it is. I think you need all types of people to have a healthy, functioning market and hobby. But as we talked about, this comes with some pluses and minuses, right? It comes with some good and some bad. And I honestly think that if you did not have people that were doing it for the money, then I think that comics potentially would be in a much worse place. Companies filing for bankruptcy because not enough people are buying comics, right? Is potentially one of the downsides of people that may do it just for the love, right? What we don't know, again, going back to transparency, we don't even know how many people collect comics. And what I mean by this, we don't even know how many people truly buy comics. How big is the comic book market? We don't really know. We have sales data that gives us some idea, but how many people is that? We don't know. We have no clue. There's no data that tells us some of this stuff, right? So there's a lack of transparency and lack of investment being made to understand how the market functions. But I personally see no problem with people that are purely in it for the money. And again, I was at a con just the other day, and I can tell you for a fact that a lot of those dealers that were there were not just there for the love of comics. They were there for the love of money, the need to feed families, the need to clothe themselves, the need to pay mortgages, right? Don't see a problem with it. Don't see a problem with it. So hopefully that helps. Comics are indeed wonderful, and no doubt about it, man. If you want the industry to be successful, you can't. What? Top Man's on fire. 70% of the time on fire. No. Again, it's like, would it be great if comics were 25 cents or a dollar, right? Could you get a grail for $100? It would be great. But that ship has sailed. That's not the reality that we exist in. There is no wrong way. There isn't. If you're buying comics, if you're going to an LCS, if you're buying comics online, if the things that you're doing are not detrimental to other people, I do not see a problem with it, right? And now, if you go into a comic shop and you try to buy up all the comics so that you can go sell them on eBay, I see a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? But if you buy a couple and you sell a couple, hey, man, get after it. Get after it. Keep it moving. Let's make some magic. I was talking to my LCS. He said most customers are over 25 and older, which again, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, right? Here's my point. Some people would say that you don't have younger people buying comics. What I would say is that you do have kids buying comics or buying graphic novels. They're buying them through Scholastic. Dog Man is, I want to say, one of the best selling graphic novels of all time at like 8 million copies. It is sold via Scholastic. Kids are reading comics. They may not be coming into an LCS, right? And because we don't have data, then the industry becomes what you see at your LCS or what you see at a Comic Con, right? I don't know if the average age, for example, is 25 or 25 and over. I don't know that. In this LCS experience, that's what it is. But what I would say to you is go to a stamp convention. Go to a stamp convention or paper money. I think those people are much older than 25, right? Potentially, like stamp collecting is one of those hobbies that might be dying out because there is no interest, because there are no investors and speculators, right? To someone else's point, you need all types of people in comics. You need all types of people in comics. You know what I'm saying? So, again, one of the great things is, again, kids are buying comics through Scholastics, right? I would love to see kids in comic shops as well. I would actually say I do see kids in comic shops. They're oftentimes coming there to get toys, right? Versus reading comics. But I don't know. Scrolling through, what is that? Diary of a Wimpy Kid, over 250 million copies. There you go. There you go. That is crazy. That is crazy. All right, so we are going to wrap this thing up. We love Dog Man. I had never heard of it until I did a little bit of research on it. You know, Chris Bicker says a lot of youngins are buying manga books. I have never read a manga book, but again, you know, I don't know. Is manga a comic? Is comic a manga? It's words, it's pictures. I don't know, right? We can draw all kinds of lines, right? Well, graphic novels are not comics. I don't know. I don't know. My thing is, at the end of the day, I want this hobby to continue to thrive and survive. And I want comic shops to continue to thrive and survive. And I will continue to do whatever I can do to make that type of magic happen. And I would say if we all continue to do our best and to continue put positive things out there, then fingers crossed that the hobby will continue to do well into the future. Because at the end of the day, I think that is what many of us want. Right. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me a little bit this evening. I hope that you enjoyed the show. And if you did, I definitely want to encourage you to go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I really don't know what you're waiting for. I want you to go ahead and tap that button, turn on notifications, and that way you won't miss any of the content that comes out from my channel every single week. We have 2 more days in which we are going to be giving out comics from Milt. We're going to be doing it again on the 19th and also on the 22nd. On the 29th, I have a special guest that is going to be joining me, as person that I used to watch before I started my own YouTube channel. I reached out to this person and they graciously agreed to join me on the 29th. So I'm definitely looking forward to that conversation. I have one more video that is going to be dropping this week. And it is honestly going to dovetail on some things that we talked about tonight by happenstance. As always, if you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.